Welcome to See the World Differently. Come explore and discover the world around you. Hi, everyone, and thanks so much again for joining us for this month's edition of See the World Differently with Oceanscape Yachts. I hope you enjoyed last month's edition where we spoke with Sequoia. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on that yacht and a lot of interest in Indonesia as a result. So we thank you for the support. And please don't forget to tune in on iTunes, subscribe, or in the Google Play Store, and you'll never miss an episode. It's the best place to keep up to date on what we're doing. So thank you again for the support, and don't forget to subscribe. Today, we're thrilled to be here with another guest on the show, Sergio Marichales. He's a super yacht chef, private chef, who I had the pleasure of meeting in the Bahamas, of all places, when he was the chef on board a Sunseeker 116-foot yacht. So, Sergio, thank you very much for joining us today.
No, thank you so much for having me, actually.
Yes, thank you. And you have such an interesting background, so I don't want to talk too much myself today, and I'd rather everyone got to know you a little bit. Can you start with how you got into cooking in the first place? It's a bit of a background for you, but it's also a bit of a zigzag path you kind of took to get where you are today.
Definitely, when I actually, the way that I actually learned to cook and how I actually got into cooking was through my family. I have a mildly big family, and actually, always the meetings, always, the family reunions and the family meetings were about that, meeting and eating and enjoying ourselves and enjoying our company. So I always saw food in a way that it's about family, it's about sharing, it's about caring to others. And, that was passed to me through my aunts, my grandparents, and my mom. Yeah, my dad doesn't cook at all. Like, he cooks, whatever he cooks, it's well, but he's not really a good cook.
Okay.
And yeah, so, that was passed to me by all my family. And then when it came time to actually decide what to do, I went to a little school, I would say. It was, not really big back in Venezuela, and did my first year of culinary training there. Learn, what all the chefs that learn the basics in school is just about cuts and soups and bases, which are truly necessary actually to make your career as a chef. Then moving on, went to the United States, graduated from Le Cordon Bleu, working in hotels, restaurants, catering, even a food truck at one point. That was really fun,
Was
actually.
it?
Yeah,
What kind of food was it?
it was a taco truck, so it was
Okay.
like super fun. I was working with, I think, one Puerto Rican, Rastafari out of all people,
Okay.
and and yeah, like really small but really nice, really fast-paced service. And looking back into it, definitely prepped me a little bit for working aboard motor, yachts. It is actually, like
Yeah.
working in the super jet industry because it's really tight spaces where you have to be really organized,
That's true. Yeah, actually, that's a good
in a
point.
short time. Yeah,
Yeah.
so every little piece that you do along the way definitely helps you. And then somehow I ended up in New Orleans, Louisiana, working for a big hotel chain, and really wasn't for me the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really didn't feel well on that atmosphere. I really never got to cook what I can cook and what I felt like cooking. So after that, I took a setback, and I went back home, and I started my own company, doing something totally different, selling motor oil and tires.
Okay. Is this still in the
So-
States or did you go back
no,
to
no, no. I went
Venezuela?
back to Venezuela. I went back to
Okay.
Venezuela for about a couple of years
Okay.
and did that. And it was a great life. Don't get me wrong. I had, at one point, I had something like 15 employees and, cars, boats, an apartment. But somehow, I always found myself cooking and cooking more. Every time that I was stressed, that I wasn't feeling well, I
Right.
went to cook, and I cook. And cooking for me is always like that. And that's why I enjoy what I do so much, because I don't feel it like work sometimes. I just feel like that is my place where I can create, where I can feel happy. But there is some flavors that just remind me of my childhood, and there is some things that just get me going into the day. Yes, it needs some skills, and you always need to get better. Like in everything that you do in life, you always need to get better. You always need to read more. You always need to try new things. But that's, for me, is interesting, and that's how I decided to get back into it. and get the first chance to go on my first yacht. That was a 124 feet, 40-meter horizon,
Okay.
where
Was
I
this
went for
back in
my
the States or?
back in the States. That's when
Yeah.
I came back to the States. So,
Okay.
so got my first job in a boat and went to the Bahamas for the first time.
Okay. Nice
I will
first
say that
trip.
I've been, yeah, I will say I've been to the Bahamas about 12 times already. You don't
Wow.
get over that blue.
No. So do you have
No.
a favorite little spot then where you would go back to?
Um, I will say that it's Daniel Key, where we were,
Yeah.
is one of my favorite spots in the Bahamas, just because, it's a little town. I did some villa work in there too. So to be honest, like for me, it's just because I have some friends there, and you're pretty accessible to everything that you need. Like
Yeah.
if you need to get provisions, you're actually really close. You got flights coming once or twice a day that you can actually bring stuff in. So I will say that Staniel is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And after that, it will be Nassau. Everybody arrives to Nassau, but Nassau, it has some great memories for me. I will say those are my favorite parts in Bahamas.
Okay, great. Kind of opposite ends too, eh? Because Nassau is
Yeah,
very busy and a bit more built up, and
exactly.
Staniel not so much. So,
Yeah, I try to be in Nassau. Actually, there is this great marina and this great place called Lifer Key. It's to the other side of the island,
okay.
away from the cruise ships and Atlantis and everything else. So for me, it's really interesting when you go there because there's this really nice restaurant. If I'm not mistaken, it's called Home House Club or something like that. But the food is amazing. One of the best food that I had in the Bahamas ever.
Okay, that is a big recommendation coming from you and a little spot like
Amazing.
that.
It's
Yeah.
about I would say 5 minutes from the marina from Lifer K.
Okay.
But such a great food.
Okay, I'm sure people will check that out now on your
Hmm.
recommendation. Yeah, and that yacht that you went on, that was a bit of a fluke, you said, right? Get like you didn't go searching for a job on yachts, did you? Or
Well, yes and no. So the way how I started this, and that's one of the interesting parts, is like yes, I went to the States back when I went back in May 2016. So I'm actually turning about 2 years in yachting.
oh, that's
Yeah, I
right.
turned 2 years in yachting yesterday actually.
Okay, wow.
Um,
Congrats.
Thank you. So interesting enough, when I arrived to the States, I was like, well, I might not stay here. And my plan all along was not come. I was going back home to Venezuela. It was just a little
Oh,
vacation that I was having
okay.
for a moment. But I always knew about yachting. It was something that going to school in Miami and working with what it is, catering with, in Miami, you get to meet people, you get to hear the stories, you get to know a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And it's
So
right on
I
your
always knew,
doorstep, I guess.
yeah, exactly. So I always knew that was there, and I knew the industry, I knew how the work was, and I knew how the money was. That was one of the biggest things on yachting. And when I came back, I was like, nah, I'm not going back to restaurants nor hotels. I already did that. I don't feel like doing that again.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole yachting industry, and I don't know if I explained this to you at one point, but this is like a club.
Yeah.
And yes, it's hard sometimes to get in, but once you're in or you are let in by someone, it's easier to actually move around because because as a club, you will have people that recommend you.
Right.
And most of the people in this industry, even though, there is a lot of thousand yachts out there and everything, pretty much the people is the same. You get new faces that are coming and faces that are going, but the faces that stay are always mildly the same. So depending on the side of the world that you are, people will know one or two people that you have worked with.
Yeah. The door's open now. You can move
The door is
around.
open. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they vouch for you, and as you vouch for people too. It's like it's all about reference and recommendations. It's all about who you know,
Yeah.
like any other industry. That's one of the things with this industry, and that's why when we talk and I explained to you how I got my next job, it was like that. It was somebody that I know personally, a friend of mine, that recommended me to a job. It's just that's pretty much how it goes.
Okay. Right
I didn't
place,
look
right
for
person, right
right
time.
place, right person, right
Yeah.
time. And the same was for my first job: right place, right person, right time. I
Okay.
met the Colombian captain, and they gave me my first chance. It was about that. I wasn't getting paid, you know, the standard. I was getting paid less, of course,
Yeah.
because I was new.
Yeah.
But you need to sometimes suck it up for a couple of months,
Yes. Start
and then
somewhere.
yeah, and then go into bigger and better things.
Yeah. And now you split your time. You do some work on this side in the States and in the Caribbean, and then you're also in the Med sometimes, correct?
So yeah, right now I'm actually in Barcelona.
Oh, nice.
I took a couple of weeks off.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would actually join the 116 where we met in a couple of days. As some of the things with the 47 meter that was on didn't work out, but it's just a great thing.
Yeah.
The doors were left open with them, and the moment that I called, they were actually super excited to have me. They're like, yes, yes,
Excellent. Yeah.
perfect.
The food was amazing.
And
I know we weren't the only
yeah,
ones to
thank
think
you so
that.
much.
So, yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. But yeah, it was all about that. So yeah, I'm having a couple of weeks off here in Barcelona, enjoying the culinary scene. I can tell you that it's not been a day where I have eaten bad here. Food
Okay.
here is just incredible.
Yeah. That was one of
It's
my questions. Is that do you have a top place in the world that you like to go for? It doesn't have to
I
be
don't know,
the
to be
best
honest with you,
restaurant,
because
but
I've been around the world with the yachting industry. I've been lucky enough to actually have the chance to, yes, start my career doing the Florida, Bahamas, Caribbean, and then actually moving on to Asia and living in Hong Kong and surrounded for about a year, being in China, being in Hong Kong, being in Thailand, being in Singapore. It's something that definitely elevates your food culture,
yes.
because you can now taste all these different local tastes and local flavors, and then actually add it on into your cuisine. Rethink dishes. Actually, I had an amazing experiences recently in Italy when I had to. I think we talked. That was the day that we were supposed to have the interview
Oh,
originally.
yes.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was outside of Osteria Francescana, and interesting enough, I got to actually get in. It wasn't easy, believe
Oh,
me.
yes, that restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
what
was a
made
lot of
that
wait.
so special? Was it a typical Italian like 10-course meal or
No, the
Okay.
thing with Osteria Francescana is that it was the best restaurant in the world, 2 years straight, 2015, 2016, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
wow. Okay. So to get in there was
hmm
amazing.
Yeah, so it's a 3-month waiting list actually. So I went there and I was like, yeah, let me just go into and
Just
see
see
if
if
I
I
can
can.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe try to work here.
Okay.
And yeah, let's say no.
Okay.
Well,
But hey, right
um,
place, right time. You got to eat there. So not all
exactly. I
those
try to
lost.
eat there. I just like, well, can I just at least have a meal?
Yeah.
And they're like, no,
Okay.
no, like we're fully booked. Like, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what if I wait? I can wait and have time. And I
Yeah.
truly did. I truly have time at the moment. It was like a day off, and I had the car, and yes, it was 2 hours from the boat in a car. But come on, we come from the States. 2 hours in car is nothing.
Right? I try to tell
Interesting
that to
enough, two
European
hours.
friends. They don't get
Yeah, two
it.
hour, 2 hour, 2 hours here in car is like a totally different scene. It's funny enough.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're crossing borders over there in a couple hours, so
Yeah,
it's very
actually.
different. Yeah.
So, so yeah, so I went to it, and they open doors at about 8, and they do the whole introduction, bienvenido, Estaría Francescana, and so on. So I saw that, and I was waiting outside to try to, and they see me around, like the cooks have seen me around because I was there for a couple hours. Some of the servers have seen me around, so I was like, well, hope it happens. So
Yeah.
I was just going. I just needed to. It's a 270 euro plate, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a cheap escapade, if you want to call it. But I was all willing to, because for me it was more about what I could learn and what
Yes.
I could add to my menus and what could add to my flavors. And then this story gets better.
Okay.
But
It's good.
yeah, but then I'm there, and it's about 8:03, and the maitre d' comes out and he sees me, and then like with the broken Italian that I speak. Well, my Italian got a little better while I was there,
Yeah.
so close to the Spanish. But with my broken Italian, I just kind of explained that I was a yacht chef, that I just wanted to come in and try some dishes to see what I could actually add and make my business a little better, and so on and so on. And he's like, well, just come with me. And I
Really?
was like, yes, perfect. And then, I get in, I shake one of the service hands that I talked to him earlier that day.
Yeah.
Um, I come in again, and I'm expecting to be sit at this moment.
Right.
But they take me back into the kitchen,
Okay.
and they sit me in a corner of the kitchen, actually. And I have the 12-course menu in the kitchen,
Really?
each dish explained by the chef that worked there.
Oh my gosh, that's almost better than being sat, though.
Yeah, like that was amazing.
Yeah.
So like that for me was just amazing, and actually getting into there for me was a wake up call too, because I enter into one of the best kitchens in the world. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I saw so many things that you try my food. I'm a mildly good cook.
Yeah, more than
Um,
that, but yes.
Thank you. But I saw some things, technique wise, culinary wise, that I was like, well, I'm still maybe not missing a lot of this, but I still can refine myself a little more. I still can be a little better, be better, faster, stronger.
Yeah, like you
Just
said, always learning, right? Trying new
exactly.
things.
So for now, I just took the decision that I'm going to do the Met season
Okay.
with the Sunseeker, and then I actually will go back to restaurants for the winter season. I won't go back to the States.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
'cause
do. I will be here in the Met I will be here in most likely in Barcelona,
okay.
working in some of the best restaurants in town.
Wow, that's great. Because then I'm sure with both ways, like you said with the hotel, it was kind of the opposite of the food truck, right? It's too big, you get lost in it. There's politics, and so I'm sure every
Exactly.
office, like well, your type of office, every chef job you have is different in its own unique way that you can then take to the next job, even if it's on a totally
Exactly.
different atmosphere. Yeah. Oh, that's
So for me,
interesting.
it's all about that. It's about growing, and I see that especially in this industry, we play on the highest level. If you're gonna put it, we play on the highest level of ball. I can only compare yachting sometimes to high level banking.
Okay.
Why? Because you are disposable entirely. If you don't produce, if you don't do your job the way that you should,
Yeah.
if you made a mistake, you're out of the door. And I can tell you this because I've not only seen on other people where they wake up at 8 in the morning, they're fired at 8:30, packed by 10, and their replacements arriving at midday for
Yeah.
lunch.
Yeah.
It has happened to me. It has happened to me in moments that I like happened to me at one point where I wasn't expecting it, and it actually happened. Like they were like, "Yeah, we no longer need your services," like that,
Oh, wow. Okay.
without expecting it. It was totally out of the blue.
Yeah, and that makes you doubt
So,
yourself too a little bit, I bet. Like,
all of like you cannot imagine.
yeah.
It definitely makes you doubt yourself. It weighs on you because some part of being a chef, and I was actually reminiscing this because I've been by myself. I've been doing some things, some individual projects lately. So yeah, it definitely weighs on you. It definitely something that as a chef you put your soul sometimes out there, and just sometimes it's not well received. Sometimes just and it's okay. People just not everyone likes your food. Like even when I go out sometimes, there's things that I don't like.
Yes,
There's
it's
things
very
that I return.
personal, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's things that I return. Don't get me wrong. Like I return plates all of the time.
Yeah. Well, you're a
I
tough
like
critic, I guess, if it's exactly what you do too.
exactly. So it's just it's just the way that we in this industry roll, and that's the reason why we make maybe sometimes 2 or 3 times what a chef on land will make, and we live this life of traveling and rolling around And sometimes it's hard because you actually get all this, and it's funny. Even when I was in Osteria Francescana, one of the best kitchens in the world, don't get me wrong, they still see you as an elitist. You're an elite chef because you work in yachts.
Yes. Yeah.
Like even this, like they will see and wow, you're actually a yacht chef. Wow, that's elite. Like doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it comes with its own sort of entitlement, I guess people might think. Or
Exactly,
yeah.
like and it is still the same hard work. Some days I pull 16, 18 hour days, and that's a
Yes.
normal thing for me.
Yeah, and I've seen that
And
with a lot of people on boats. Is it is? I think it's a lot more than people think. It's not like a restaurant where you have a lunch and dinner seating or something. It's all
mm-mm,
day. Yeah, yeah,
it's all day because you're doing you're doing aperitifs, you're doing lunch, you're doing dinner, you're doing breakfast.
you've got all the snacks in there because people
Yeah,
can't go an
exactly.
hour without eating something or drinking something.
Exactly. Or they want to munch into something when they come out of the beach, like I did for you guys that day.
Yeah,
That
munch
because
on
I know
something. It
how.
was like A5
Yeah,
Wagyu or
exactly.
something. A little
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
A little something,
yeah.
exactly.
And
But
do you
but
have
yeah, that's the way.
trouble with that though? Like getting certain supplies? I know Bahamas, you're kind of well connected to the States and they have a lot of fresh seafood and things like that. But have you had any really tricky times where you couldn't get the supplies that you needed on
I will
board?
say that one of the trickiest time to get provisions was definitely China.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, when I was in China, we were in Hainan. Hainan is a little island
Yeah.
on the southwest of China, and yes, actually, it was hard in the way that first of all, the language. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like I don't our Mandarin, especially living in Hong Kong, you don't practice it at all.
No,
It's
no.
just the way. Like
Yeah.
you barely speak some Cantonese for the taxi drivers, like thank you, the numbers,
Yeah.
here, which is really important.
Nothing
But
technical. Yeah.
nothing technical. Like if I tell you that I know the name in Chinese of an onion, oh, I don't know it. Like I don't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it was also the fact that it doesn't meet your quality criteria. The local fish that you have, you really don't know how much. Like I can see a fish from the outside and know if it's fresh,
Yeah. I was just thinking.
but yeah, but like I don't know if all the fish that they're gonna give me is fresh.
Yeah. So the
And
quality of
sometimes,
food.
yeah, exactly. And sometimes your timing becomes a situation also because when it's two of you in a galley in a kitchen in a boat, you have the time to actually maybe provision before.
Yeah.
But when you don't, it just becomes a little even trickier to actually get everything done. And yeah, for me, I would say that one of the hardest part was that. But at the same time, we prep each other really well. We brought everything from Hong Kong with us
Okay. So you
to the
can
crossing.
stock quite a
So
bit. Yeah.
usually what you do in these sort of situations is that you will fully provision into your last port of knowing. Like let's say if you're in Florida, I'll provision myself in Fort Lauderdale fully for a crossing.
Okay.
Hmm.
Until your next major port where you know you can get
Exactly, right now I can
supplies.
get
Yeah.
everything else that I need.
Okay. So say a 2 week charter, you're only stocking enough provisions. There's a point where you would restock
There's a
unbeknownst to
point now to
the.
restock.
Yeah.
Depends also on the kind of fridge that I have, the kind of boat that I'm working on. Like there's boats that are smaller. You can only provision for a couple of days, 3, 4 days.
Yes. Yeah. Depending on
You
space.
have enough. Like usually your proteins are the hottest part because that's where your quality comes into play.
Yeah. It needs to be fresh and
Produce,
stored
you can
well.
still play with them. You can still play with the produce.
Yeah.
Of course, I would never buy produce in the Bahamas because I know how they get into the Bahamas and just they lose all the quality on their
Oh,
way.
right. Can you share
Yeah.
about that, or is it just should we not be eating food in the
Sometimes,
Bahamas?
no. Like sometimes, sometimes in the Bahamas, especially in the little islands,
Yeah.
you lose they call it, the cold transition. Like it has to be cold all the way. And you lose that sometimes. Like, it's going to be left outside at one point, but
Oh,
maybe
true.
while it's getting in from the airport. so you lose some of the quality, especially really, real perishable stuff like berries and
Yeah.
strawberries and little things like that. They really lose some of their quality, or they
Yeah.
won't last as long as.
You just know it wouldn't be
Yeah,
worth it to
exactly.
stock there. Yeah.
So those are things that you have to know how to deal. Like for always the berries, the I would say the berries, the flowers, some of the things. Those are things that are really perishable,
Hmm.
and you really have to know how to deal with them.
Yeah, especially the flowers because it's all like the final presentation, isn't it? So if they're all kind of wilted
Exactly.
and browning, it kind of puts a damper on
Yeah, it kind
things.
of goes off. Exactly.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite signature dish or something? I guess two questions really. One, a signature dish that you love to wow people with, and
Mm-hmm.
two, a dish that you know everyone will love and it's a fail safe. Like if you have a picky group or something, you know you can make that. And they might be two separate dishes, but or
Actually, well, you had one of them actually.
oh,
The
okay.
octopus dish.
Oh yeah, and that was
I'll say it's my
delicious.
signature dish. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that
my
was,
signature dish.
and they were two
It's on my
different types,
website.
right? They were
Yeah,
done two
you
different
have to.
ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have a sear and a macerated one over a
Yes.
bed of creamy corn with tobacco and olive oil as first. That for me is one of my favorite dishes.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just a lot of
delicious.
flavor into 3 or 4 small bites.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that one dish that for me goes with almost everyone, even with the ketos that are
Yes.
that's lately, yeah, that's lately a trend that is being caught. It's been cutting up.
Yeah.
More and more people is going keto, so you really need to know how to work your ketos. And the
Yeah.
thing with keto is that because they're not having carbohydrates, you need to be able to feed them and make them feel full with vegetables.
Yes. Yeah.
So for me right now, at the moment, I would say that one of my favorite ones for ketos are is the sea bass, the butter poached sea bass.
Is that
It's
the one
kind of
we
like
had as well? You did a sea
no,
bass. No.
I
Okay.
did a sea bass, but it's just yours was sear and
Yeah.
cook in the oven. Well, the one that I do is actually butter poach. It's just you poach it in
Oh.
butter and you leave it cook.
Okay. The
And I
fats are
serve
good for the
that with
ketos. Yeah. Good.
yeah, and I serve that with a spinach puree, grilled cucumbers, confit tomatoes, and nice three-color radish.
Okay. That sounds amazing.
I will say that is something that I when I need to do something that I know people will like, I will go for that.
Yeah.
If I don't have any dietary restrictions, fresh pasta is a hit.
Fresh pasta.
Fresh pasta
Yeah.
from scratch.
Okay. Ooh, that would be good. And is that something
Hmm.
you picked up on one of your times in Italy as well, or?
No, to be honest with you, the fresh pasta for me, I actually learned to do it by I. So when I was growing up, my godmother, that is also my aunt, she married an Italian.
Okay.
Since we were little kids, we always had fresh pasta and great sauces with it.
Yeah. Okay. So from a young
And he
age.
taught us, yeah, he taught us when we were little kids, how to do fresh pasta. And
Okay.
that's something that I got in there. And then when I got into culinary school, I learned to do it myself, as fresh pasta. And even a couple of days ago, with a friend of mine that actually we were shooting for an online blog.
Okay.
He's an Italian chef, and we did gnocchi fresh from scratch.
Oh, yum.
So
Okay.
yeah, fresh pasta is always a nice touch. It's always great in the way that you have something so warming and some home feel
Mm-hmm.
made to your taste and and by your hands. So when you can actually tell someone that, yeah, I did this, either ravioli or gnocchi or tartanelli or whatever you do,
Yeah.
and it's homemade, definitely people feel special.
And you can still put your own personalization on it or something too.
Exactly.
So,
I
yeah.
think that was one of the best part of going into this restaurant that I went last week. They taught me how to see Italian cuisine in a different way.
Okay. As in putting your own spin on things? Like it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be.
exactly. And
Yeah.
yeah, and not only putting your own spin on things, just combining flavors from the east and the west. Like I had this amazing course called Duck from the East and the West.
Okay.
So it's a Peking duck in the bottom, covered by an orange risotto and grated with burnt orange on top. But swear to God, when I try
Ooh,
it,
yeah.
the dog tastes exactly what when I used to go to the markets in Hong Kong. It was like
Yeah.
the same Peking dog that I had in the markets in Hong Kong.
Interesting, isn't it? Because I think as the world gets a bit smaller like that, things are all melting together, aren't they? So a lot of your cooking probably isn't just, your Venezuelan heritage, or, you spend time in it probably melts together all these different places you've been and foods you've tried. So lots of different flavors.
Yeah, definitely. That's I think cooking is all about that. Is putting together what you've seen, what you learn, what you grew up with, and some of the flavors that you love just by going to a restaurant and doing this and doing that. Like, believe me, I've been in some great restaurants around here. Actually, yesterday, funny enough, I went to have lunch in this restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 3 minutes walking from my hotel.
Okay.
So, I just go there, and then the guys have like 4.5 stars on Google. So I was like, okay, cool, this restaurant might be good. Get there about 1:15. The restaurant open at 1. There's no one in the restaurant. No one.
Oh, okay. Oh.
And I'm like, oh, okay, this that already seems weird, odd for us.
Bad
Like I
sign.
see, yeah,
Yeah.
that's like that's odd. And
Yeah.
then I come in, and I'm all Spanish out. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Like, yeah, so table for one. It's like, no, 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 we're fully booked for lunch. And I'm like, what?
And you're looking around.
What? Yeah, exactly. I went, but you seem pretty empty. Like,
Yeah.
how are you fully booked for lunch? Like, no, no, we open in about half an hour.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So when can you have me?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, tomorrow, tonight dinner. And I was like, okay, cool. And I went there, and yes, actually, as amazing as advertised.
Okay, good. And that's
Yeah,
the
it was
thing, you never
amazing.
know
And it's
too.
funny enough, yeah, to be honest with you, being here in Spain and even in Italy just recently, it's a different way of living life. They're a little more calm. They're a little more. They live life in a different way. The siesta. They
Yes.
have this break in the afternoon. They actually live life.
Especially
And
compared to the Miami Fort Lauderdale scene. I think it's very
exactly,
different.
like it's
Yeah.
exactly, especially over there, that we just roll 1,000 miles per second,
Yeah.
and
No
for
holidays, no
me,
sick
yeah,
days, no,
exactly,
yeah.
same for living in China. Living in China, one of the things that the bankers say actually is already tomorrow in Hong Kong. We have to cut up.
Yeah.
Uh, and people live over there with that mentality that you have a day ahead of the world, make it count.
Yes. Yeah, true. So you're in
So
a
I
totally
rem-
different vibe right now where,
So yeah, I'm a totally different. Don't get me wrong, I love it.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you're getting used to it. Like you're getting used to having dinner at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
which
For those of
which for
us
me
who are
is
normally in bed by then.
exactly, which is crazy. Like
Yeah.
you actually, and I've dated a couple of girls here actually.
Okay.
And interesting enough, they tell you, yeah, no, dinner at 22, and you're like, what?
Yeah. That has to be an address or something. That can't be. That's
Yeah, yeah, no,
funny.
no. They have dinner at 10, and
Yeah.
they finish about midnight, and then they go home.
Yeah.
And
It
you're like,
is. It's something to get used to, but it's nice, isn't it?
it's nice. There's
Yeah.
the wine here is amazing. I can tell you that. I haven't had a bad wine here.
Oh, really? Do you
Like
incorporate a
even
lot of that into your cooking? Like,
I try to be honest with
yeah.
you, and even with, I think I did for you the. I don't know if I got the chance to do the dry ice for you, but I usually integrate into my meals
Okay.
the senses. I usually either integrate spices for every other course, or like smells into it, as
Okay.
it's something that adds on to the whole situation. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, you have to realize that in the yachting industry, it's a show.
Yes, for sure. For
And
sure.
you're getting. This was something that was said to me not long ago. As a yacht, you are the most expensive hotel in the world. What the most expensive night in a hotel might cost you $7,000-8,000. On charter, depending on the size of your vessel, you're costing about 25. So you're costing 3-4 times what a Four Season
Yeah,
Ritz
for a
Carlton is
big
gonna
yacht.
cost.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that because you are the best hotel in the world, you have to go up to those standards of service, those standards of
Yeah.
whenever you go to have a meal. It's all about the experiences that you can create for you while you were on board the 112.
Yeah.
It was an experience. It was a whole day experience that we actually created for you.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we create for guests, for owners, and because that's what they actually hire a guide to have that level of service, to have that level of experience, that level of culinary expertise,
Yeah. And it's
and
because
that's
too they're not going anywhere. Well, I mean, they can go on land, but for the most part, you are like the in-house restaurant or
exactly,
entertainment or
you are the
yeah.
in-house restaurant, you're the in-house entertainment,
Yeah.
you are pretty much everything that needs to be happening into these into the time on board the vessel. So you have to make it count into what they actually there, and that's something that I personally was taught, and I make a point that you have to give the best. That's why I told you that I compare these a lot to high level banking because you have to be on point every day. You have to give your best every day. You have to just produce and keep producing every day at the highest level
Yeah.
because and that goes into everything. You're the best paid hotel staff in the world for a reason. You're the highest and most expensive hotel in the world for a reason, and that's where all your standards should come from.
Yeah. And you, though, I think you fit really well into that because I think you have that on yourself already, especially as a chef. Like you probably demand perfection from yourself, which then means you would be a good fit. Like I think there's a lot of people out there who just are okay to scrape by, or be average or they don't need to be the best of the best. But I think you're constantly striving for that and that
You need
shows.
to like for
Yeah.
me that's all about that. I see life, to be honest with you, in a way that if you cannot look at yourself back 1 year before and say, wow, I was 1 year before here and I was doing this, and now I'm here in Barcelona, having an interview with you and actually eating great food. I went to el Mercado de la Boqueria today. That is a really famous market here, and I had lunch there.
Okay.
So it's all about that. It's all about how you actually see yourself through the years. Like
Yeah.
for example, I can put it to you this way. Last time this year, I was in Hong Kong,
Okay.
and I was working in Hong Kong normally. By this year, I'm here in Barcelona at this time of the year. Next year, I don't know where I'm gonna be, and I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah. It's good to, like a gratitude, but a reflection. It's good to check in like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all about that. It's about the most that you can learn, the most that you can do along the years, and every day that you take is an experience. It's a learning process. So that's the way that I like to take them, even with the
Yeah.
good and the bad. Don't get me wrong. Like for me, and I can do it this way. It was a little bit of a downfall that Bartali didn't work.
Yeah.
That was the vessel that I actually came here to Europe to join,
Right. Yes, that you were on recently. Yeah.
and somehow it didn't work out for me. We just worked out because it wasn't his taste. So the owner came on board. He had my food. He said, "Oh, the guy's amazing, great, but he's not my taste. It's not my taste of food."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do about that."
No, like we
Uh,
said, it's very personal, but
it's very personal,
yeah.
but at the same time, don't believe that doesn't take a toll on you.
No, for sure. I'm
Uh,
sure you
like
go with some
it's
self doubt and confidence.
exactly, you're still putting your soul in there. So yeah, that's why actually when I got this time, I went to Osteria, and I think looking back, it was a great idea because I just felt well. I just felt like, yes, I am where I need to be. Definitely, it's an elitist. You have to work a lot to actually be on the yachts and stay
Yeah.
yourself in the yachts.
Yeah.
But when you actually move away from that and you see that, and that's it's funny because engineers and chefs are the only two people on vessels that need to have great qualifications in order to actually get into the industry.
Yeah.
While with the rest, if I went to be a decky, I start, cleaning the boat. I get a couple courses, and then I
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah, you start at the
You
bottom and
have
work
to
up.
exactly. While you're being a chef, you can actually not do that. You have to have a really big background experience in actually to order
For
walk into
sure.
the boats, because also one thing that you get is the internationality of the industry. You get people that is from different ways of life, and from that you will get different requests.
Yeah.
From religious requests to home requests. Like you have Italians or you have Spaniards or you have someone from, I don't know, Mississippi or
Yeah.
Chicago that is just asking you for a mac and cheese the way it is.
Yeah.
Or if the guy's asking you for steak and potatoes, but he wants his steak and potatoes the natural way.
Yeah. Yeah. Like mom used
So
to make, kind of a thing. So you need to
exactly,
know.
with
Yeah.
a lot of gravy
Yeah.
and so on. So, you have to be able to cater for the most exquisite palates and at the same time for the most normal palates. Like you get requests for Easter dinner or for Easter brunch. And then you need to have your hashed potatoes, and you need to have your baked ham
Mm.
and the gravy and everything else that comes in between. So being a yacht chef is more about adaptation, and that goes also on the menus that you can produce. That goes also into your provisionings and everything else. Don't get me wrong; it's all about context too. You need, you know, I I would say that I have one of my favorite provisioners. Um, that they've been helping me all around the world. They're called Provide and Supply, but at the same time, I also have some other people that I use whenever I don't actually need to. I cannot find it, or it's just a thing that I'm in Italy and it's gonna take 4 days to actually get anything, and Italy is not the easiest place to get something. We just actually
Yeah.
had a downfall in Italy with some provisions that were supposed to arrive, and our caviar got stolen.
Oh dear.
Like our caviar got stolen, some other DHL fellas, and they just
Uh,
deliver a
this
couple
is when
days
the laid
later.
back attitude really gets frustrating.
Exactly. That's when the labor attitude just kills you. It's like, yeah, I understand that I'm in Italy. You don't work on the weekends, but I just need your help. Can you
Yeah.
please?
Customer service, I don't think, is the exact same there. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's when you come back and you're like, well, I need the 24/7 culture here.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So it just goes and backs and forth. Like you're still gonna get curveballs thrown to you by guests, thrown to you by owners, thrown to you by life itself. Like.
yeah, yeah, and being prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think us doing this call at my lunchtime and your pre-dinner, I guess, since you're in Spain, so you won't
Yeah.
be eating at the normal dinner time, was not the best idea. I'm now starving, and
Oh no.
I wish you were here to cook something delicious that you just mentioned. But I can't thank you enough. I could literally talk all day to you about food and this industry, but we'll have to wrap it up. So thank you so much, Sergio, for taking the time with us. And I just want to tell everyone where they can find you. So your website is Sergio Marichales, and that's SergioMarichales.com. And your
Yes.
Instagram's the same. And I think Instagram's kind of your go-to, right? That's where.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram is my go-to at the moment. To be honest with you, I'm taking a break of
Okay.
Instagram, of everything. I'm in a little space, but believe me, the material that I have completed for the last 3 weeks here in Europe is definitely coming up.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Instagram is my go-to. In Instagram, we're not only adding to the recipes and adding to the lifestyle situation. We're also going to be doing contests pretty soon with some of the sponsors, and we're going to be showing a little bit more of Europe as I'm going to be around here all the summer.
Okay.
So some recommendations for restaurants and where to go, where to eat, where to buy, especially the where to buy your produce is coming up, because one thing, and I know we're wrapping up, but let me just really quick in this. There is no manual to actually be a yacht chef. And that is something that every time I sit with other yacht chefs, we go together into little tricks and pieces that we just roll each other for the industry. And it's interesting. You just start like little tricks and pieces that you try. So there's not really a manual into
Yeah.
how to do this. And I thinking that is something that I want to try with the people that is coming in to actually throw out there, how to little bits and tricks that I can actually help you out in the future. As the way, saying, some of my friends have helped me, or I actually have a great network of people that I can just call and be like, hey, I'm here. Where do I go? Just go here, talk to this guy. Not everyone have that, and I think that's something that should be sometimes a little bit more easy to achieve.
Yeah, that's probably a great idea. So is that something people can look out for?
Definitely, there's
Okay.
something they can look out for in the near future.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again, Sergio, for your time. Please go follow him. You'll love his photos, and everything he's just spoken about really comes through on his website. So don't forget to check him out. Thank you so much again, Sergio.
No, to you, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to See the World Differently. Until next time, keep daydreaming.